Hi and welcome to my cash out video. Bookmakers absolutely love it and punters shouldn't. Bookmakers use it to savagely cut their liabilities, and as I shall demonstrate, you'll be able to see examples of the sort of margins that they're taking out, and I'll have a real life example to sort of show how actually it's possible to take out extra money from the bookmakers. So there's a couple of techniques that I will demonstrate, well worth hanging around for, well worth subscribing for, and at the very least tell your friends about it, because it's going to save everybody, apart from the bookmakers, a lot of money. So let's see how this cash out actually works. I've got an example here from Ladbrokes. That's why it's in red, very brand aware, and a big thank you to my mate Guy. So thanks Guy for this example that you managed to put together for me. A £1 double with Ladbrokes, 100 to 30 and 6 to 1. First leg goes in, pays 4.33, so you've got 4.33 running onto a 6 to 1 shot. However, Ladbrokes step in. Don't worry, we'll give you cash out so you can take your profit. But incredibly, the offer they make is this thing over here, from 4.33 down to £2.10. As a percentage, 48%. So 48% of what it's actually worth. And that ain't a great deal for the punters. Here's the example we've all been waiting for from Betfair, presumably not on the exchange because it's an accumulator. Anyway, the bet was a £2 each way accumulator at some very trappy odds: 16 to 5, 13 to 2, 19 to 5, 17 to 2, 9 to 2 and 11 to 2. And so same technique as before in terms of actually how you're going to work out the returns. You convert the odds to decimals, so on the right there we go 4.2, 7.5 and so on, and then to actually get the return, as it's an accumulator, multiply those decimals together. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First 5 legs have gone in. Now the value at this point is £15,800, running onto the last leg at 11 to 2. But don't worry, Betfair, they'll step in, we'll give you cash out. And the cash out offer, which was accepted, was £10,812. There we go. And so as a percentage, 68.4% of what it was worth. So how can we save ourselves money? Well, I'm going to show you how now. There are a couple of ways of looking at this in terms of actually trying to find a solution to it. The first option may well not be particularly practical, but what it does, it highlights the amount of money that's involved here. And so we've got to that stage where the 5 legs have come in, and the value, or the punter value, is 15,800. And in fact, the reality is it's probably slightly more than that, because he's taken an early price by the looks of it of 11 to 2. And the SP's coming in at 7 to 2. So even when I've said that he's been offered cash out and he's taken 10,800, that's probably underestimated the value of it, because he's actually got the early value. So what we could do though, early price is 11 to 2, starting price is 7 to 2. You could theoretically, and I say theoretically, you go onto the exchange and you lay the horse on the exchange for the amount that the bookmaker would have given you, the 10,812, and we'd lay it at 4.5. I haven't actually seen the figures, and I would imagine it's probably slightly larger than that on the exchange by the nature of it. But for this example, this is how it works. And this way, he still, if the horse loses, he still gets that £10,810 that the bookmaker was going to give him as cash out, because he's laid it on the exchange, so he's covered himself on that. But if the horse were to win, it actually bagged in total a whopping 64,860, and that is quite incredible when you think about the sums involved and actually how the bookmakers are just nicking money off punters. But that's the way it is. Now, as I say, theoretically fantastic. In reality, something a bit different, because actually if you're laying it on the exchange, you need to find yourself £10,812, multiply it by 3.5 and actually have that money in the account to enable you to do it, which makes it somewhat a restrictive thing. And also, I think it was a race at Hamilton, and the question is, could you actually smuggle £10,800 into the market I think that would probably have been a bit of a challenge as well. But from the previous examples, you can sort of see theoretically how this is possible, that actually if you've run 3 or 4 legs and your cash out, you're looking to maybe take cash out at around 100 or 200 pounds, then it might be possible to do it on the exchange. But that's the first one. The second example that's coming up, or the second solution that's coming up to it, will actually demonstrate what I think is a very practical way of going about doing things, more about risk management, and actually involves less cash. Okay, and the trick here is to avoid cash out, because if we look at this example, we've gone for a 6-horse accumulator, and the price that's been offered by Betfair, 10,812, having done the 6 legs. Now, if the punter had only done 5 legs, the bet would have settled, it would have been finished, and he would have been paid out £15,800. So, around £5,000 more for doing 1 less leg. And that's the clue here. So if you actually work out, at what point am I thinking, oh, it's getting quite a big amount, I want to take cash out. Right? By actually having a look at the odds that you think you're going to get in the first place, and then thinking, right, at what point would I want to take cash out, and limit yourself to that number of legs. Now, this is quite, as I say, the odds here are quite trappy. So what I'm going to do is just break it down and use some odds that are actually a little bit easier to deal with. And again, it's only an approximation, but it will work really well. Okay, for the purposes of this exercise, I've taken out the each way part because it doesn't really add a great deal to the value, and it simplifies it a little bit to be able to see what's going on. So we had all the trappy odds, and I've replaced them with approximations, but nice decimal odds. So 3 to 1 becomes 4 as a decimal, 6 to 1, 4 to 1, etc. And so you can see when the nice decimals, we can then actually just multiply them together. So we've had a decimal, 3 to 1 becomes 4 as a decimal, and then the £2 stake makes the first winner a value of £8. And we can build it up, so it goes £8, 56, 280, 2,800, 14,000 and 98,000. As I say, this is an approximation, but it seems to me it's not too far out, as the real total was coming at about 103,000 ultimately, and this comes out at 98,000. And so now you can have a look at it and sort of think, at what point would I want to take cash out? If you just think, look, I want to take out 100k, and I'm not going to watch anything that's going on, and I'll just wait and see what happens, then maybe you just do the bet and just let it ride. But if you're watching what's going on, there will always be the temptation to take the money out. So in this particular instance, if you've got down 5 legs, we reckon the value is about 14,000. Now the bookie will always be hovering around, offering you this great deal. Remember, you've only staked £2, and so actually we'll give you £9,000 maybe. And again, on the face of it, it actually looks quite good. But if you're thinking, actually, right, about 9, 10, up to 14,000, that's the sort of money where I'd be thinking about taking cash out, then actually what you should do is you drop out the last leg. You get rid of it, because then the temptation to get cash out is gone. Much as actually you think I'd take out about £2,500, then really you should be doing 4 legs, because that's the point where you'd be tempted to take the cash out. And if the first 4 win, you're on that situation where they will offer you cash out, and I can guarantee it'll be less than the value of what it really is. So that's the way to do it. So again, this example that we're talking about, that the punter's put in 6 legs and he's only got 10,800, and actually if he'd only put in 5 legs, he'd have got that extra 5,000. So just do the little calculation and the little approximation before you place the bet, and you can avoid cash out, and that's really what you want to do. I've done a previous video highlighting the benefits of taking 10 to 11 instead of 5 to 6, and it just got me thinking. Classic example here of what I've been talking about today is if you did a football accumulator, say you went for 10 teams, and actually you shoved 9 in on the Saturday and had 1 on the Sunday because it seemed like a fun thing to do, my suggestion would be don't do it. Because what will happen if those first 9 come in, you're going to have a lot of money running onto the final leg. The bookmaker will offer you cash out, and it'll be very tempting to take it. And in fact, just take that last leg out, run the 9, and if it wins, you get the money. And if you want to invest a bit more on that last leg on the day, you can do, and you can choose which bookmaker you do it with as well. Anyway, there we have it. Bookmakers love Cashout, and you can see actually how it limits their liability very successfully. But I've produced a couple of solutions which I think will help us as punters keep the money in our pockets rather than handing it over to the bookmakers. There is another element to this. I'm told, when I read about it, that the punter sat smugly watching the last race, knowing he'd taken cash out. And I know full well, if that had been me, I'd have been sat there watching and hoping the horse didn't win the last, because instead of my cash out of 10k, I could have actually won 100. And that's the nature of the beast. That's why punters, sometimes you think you can't win even when you win. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.